Hello students, we're in our blue book, page 44, and we've been spending a lot of time with combining integers, adding and subtracting. We've been doing the temperature change problems, elevation. Now we're going to move on to multiplication and division. So in today's lesson, understanding multiplying of integers, multiplication, and I'm also going to write above it division, because I will tell you the rules for multiplication are the same as the rules for division. So our objective of today's lesson can determine the sign when multiplying. Okay, I can determine the sign of a number. The multiplication piece, most of you will use a calculator, but it is important to understand getting the sign, understanding what you get. All right, there's actually really a couple of different cases that can occur here. So this is lessons broken down into cases. So example number 1, ICG is the integer card game to model multiplying integers. So case number 1, a positive integer times a negative. Now, so you think about your scenarios you have. You have a positive and a positive. All right, that's the multiplication you've always known. That is positive. So what in this lesson, what we're going to look at is what happens when we multiply a positive times a negative times a positive, and a negative times a negative, and the result that we're going to get. Okay, and we're going to use the integer card game. So we're going to look at what happens if we take a positive integer, a positive number, and we multiply that times a negative number. All right. So we have 3 cards in the integer card game. 3 negative 4 cards. Okay. If we were to combine them all together, the value is negative 12. Right? Okay, so if I take negative 4 plus negative 4, or I just do negative 4 minus 4 minus 4. If I borrow 4, I borrow 4 more, I owe 12. All right, now what this would look like as a multiplication problem is 3, drawing 3 times negative 4, which equals negative 12. So it looks like that if I take a positive number, multiply it times a negative number, I get a negative number. But sometimes in math, things happen by coincidence, so let's move on to the exercise down here. Okay. If we draw 4 negative 1s, well, that would be 4 times negative 1. Right. If I draw a negative card, the value will decrease. Drawing 6 negative 2s, that would be 6 negative 2s. Would be negative 12. Drawing 3 negative 15s, 3 negative 15s would be negative 45. Right? So it seems like to me that if you take a positive number and you multiply that times a negative number, it becomes a negative number. Okay. Okay. Case 2. Next page. Product of a negative number times a positive number. Okay. Suppose we have the integer card game, and we had these 4 cards. Okay. These 3 together equal 12. This one is negative 5. And if I get rid of these, okay, that would be modeled by discarding 3 positive 4 cards. If I get rid of a positive card, my value will drop, and it'll drop by 12. Right? So in the second exercise, equations, discarding 3 cards, negative 3 times 3. If I get rid of a positive card, okay, the value of my hand drops. Remember, a sign is a direction. Negative is going down, positive is going up. If I discard 1, my negative 1, 10 card, that's negative 10. Okay? And if I discard 5, positive 2 cards, also negative 10. So it looks like here that if I take a negative number times a positive number, I also get a negative number. All right. All right. Case 3. The product of 2 negative integers. In this one, negative times a negative. Okay. So let's suppose we have the integer card game, and I'm going to get rid of matching cards. How will this hand score be affected? If I get rid of a negative card, right? The value of the hand, well, let's look at it. Let's before these, negative 2, negative 2, negative, that's negative 8, negative 11. Okay, value of his hand was negative 10. If I get rid of these 4 negative 2's, the value of my hand is now negative 2. The value of the hand goes up, which is positive. So this will be modeled with negative 4 times negative 2, positive 8. All right, exercise 3. Write the equations to relate the following groups of cards. So discarding 3 negative 4 cards, this would be negative 3, negative 4. If I get rid of negative cards, the value of my hand increases. So it becomes a positive 12, even though we don't have to put the plus sign there. Discarding 6 negative 2 cards is also 12. Discarding 2 negative 1 cards is 2. All right? So here is the conclusion. The rules for multiplication. Positive times a positive equals a positive. Positive times a negative equals a negative. Negative times a positive equals a negative. And a negative times a negative equals a positive. These two are the same signs. If the signs are the same, it's positive. Okay? These two are different. The signs are different, it's negative. Right? So the rules for multiplication will be the same for division as well. So what you'll do in the practice is you'll go through here, and all I want you to do with these problems, at least to start with, is just determine what the sign is going to be. So, all right, for multiplying integers, this is Mr. Sims signing off.